All right, man. I'll count us into the audio portion of the show in three, two, one.
Welcome to episode
Hold
139.
on, Scott. Hold on.
Hello. All right.
Uh, we have some sort of audio difficulty here, dude. I don't know what's going on. So hold on. But this is on video too, which is kind of some insight into just how terrible I am at this. No idea why it wasn't recording. Let's try again. Three, two, one. No, it's not
Mm.
recording. Hold on. All right. I might ditch this whole video. We might start
You got
again.
a reel to reel there? What are you?
Shut up. I'm trying to make an acetate of this right now. Uh oh, I'm stupid.
We're running out of wax here.
Exactly.
They
Hang
say
on.
that on one of the live Sammy Davis records.
Oh, no kidding. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right, I'm counting us in. I forgot to hit record. I hit
Oh, there you go.
something else instead. All right, hang on. Three, two, one. All right.
Welcome to episode 139 of the Narcissistic Music Disorder.
Oh, good morning, buddy. How are you?
Oh, not bad.
Before we started recording, I want to say it again publicly. Thank you for coming out to the gig and hanging out last night. I always like when you're there. It feels like extra pressure because I know you're
That's
paying attention.
It's a cool spot. I played a few like 3 games of pinball and
Oh, you did? Cool.
had a good sandwich.
Oh my God. Dude. So my sandwich on the way home,
Yeah,
it was cold, obviously, and that's
right.
not their fault, right? They made it at 9 or something. But God dang, they have good food, and we should say that. You know what? We don't plug anybody, but that's North Grove Brewers in Montague, Michigan. You
Yeah.
can stop through. First of all, they have a lot of good music, and it's everything from like the singer songwriter kind of crap I do to like Miller has his jazz trio in there
Yeah.
sometimes.
Our pal
And
Scott Nesbitt.
oh, dude, they have like
Oh, Brand Boys.
yes, who are
Yeah.
legends. Tommy Foster play. It's just
Yep, Tommy.
and they're very kind. They've been very kind to us, and like the bartender last night just said the sweetest thing to me that just made my whole night. So that was really cool. So yeah, thank you for coming. Thank the wife for me. Hey man, I mentioned last night you were rocking that Saddler shirt.
Yeah.
Check this baby out. Can you see that? Look at that. You probably can't even
Oh,
read it.
Michael Monroe.
Isn't that cool?
Nice.
I'm sorry I missed
Does
it.
it say England on the bottom?
It says Finland.
Finland. Finland.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
So here's the thing that we got to talk about, because I'm ashamed of myself. I, I had told you I had this big plan. I was going to go over to the machine shop in Flint. I was going to get a room. I was going to have a night to myself, kind of where I went and saw Michael Monroe, and just hung out and low key, dude. After the work week, it was like driving to Flint sounded like I was driving to Florida. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Oh, I hear you.
And I feel so bad, and because there's a lot of great music within about an hour and a half, 2 hours of me, and I miss some of it. Michael Monroe, though, it's not, and no offense to Vince Neil or I don't know, even who Stephen Piercy, who's doing better now, is working a little bit, I think, working harder and is sober and has Warren DeMartini with him.
Yeah.
But Michael Monroe and his band, dude, whoa, they are
Yeah. Steve
killing.
Conti and I don't know
Oh,
who else is playing with them, but
I'll tell you I'm gonna forget. Todd Kearns is the bass player, and
oh,
Todd was
Kearns.
in
Okay.
Slash's Snake Pit, and
Yeah.
um, dude, just
He's played with Brandon Fields too, right? Todd
yes,
Kearns? Yeah, yeah.
yep. Um, as a matter of fact, he sang that single, that Minefield single of
Minefield. Yeah.
Brandon's. Um, but they just, I mean, no offense to them, and I say this as one, but they're older men. Like Todd's young, but Michael Monroe is not a young dude
Yeah,
at
he's in
all.
his 70s.
Crushing it.
Dude, my dad introduced me to Michael Monroe in
Oh,
Hanoi. So, I mean,
oh, they're just crushing it, dude. It sounds so good. They sound so good. And so they played the Whiskey. I don't know what night it was. It was fairly recent. They played the Whiskey, maybe even like last night before. Frickin' Slash got up and played with them.
oh, cool.
Yeah, just really cool show. So I'm such a Michael Monroe and Hanoi Rocks fan. You know that.
Yeah.
And he's just out. There's nothing that feels like I don't know, like old manish or old, like, oh, this is the end of the road. We got to go see Michael Monroe. It's like he's
No,
peaking. I mean, his
I
solo
know
band is
he's
killer, killer. So enough about that. Sorry, I got sidetracked because I love Michael Monroe. What's today's topic, dude?
blues covers, old blues covers.
Dude, and rock and roll is, obviously is based in the blues, right? I mean, there's the blues and obviously folk and all sorts of influence in there, but the blues have always been the rock and roll thing, I think.
Yeah,
You know, and this is here's a little theory. The reason that like the Beatles are the Beatles and the Stones are the Stones is the blues. And it's not like the Beatles, didn't know blues, but the Beatles were more into like doo-wop and girl groups and
Motown.
Motown and right. And the Stones were into Lightning Hopkins and, Muddy Waters and, Howlin' Wolf. It was the one of those classic Rolling Stones moments is when they, and I'll forget the show, dude, but I'm gonna say it was Hubbabaloo, Hubbabaloo, Hubbabaloo. That doesn't even sound right.
Hullabaloo.
Thank you. It was one of those like '60s shows, and they brought Howlin' Wolf,
Yeah,
and then they sat with the kids like on the floor while Wolf played. The Stones. So how cool is that? And Brian
yeah.
Jones was, I think, really a blues scholar too, and he introduces Howlin' Wolf to like white teenagers basically. So
Yeah.
yeah, the blues have always been good. I love all the rock and roll that I love, from Hanoi to Pussycat to Stones to blues, right? Blues based. I mean, I make fun of jazz people, as you know.
Yeah.
You might know that about me. Um, I went through a little phase. I don't think it was a poser. I mean, I've had a lot of poser phases, but I don't think it was a poser phase. But I did get blues. I became blues guy for a little while. I wasn't playing it like I didn't have a blues band, but I was buying old blues like on cassette at the flea market, and then
Yeah.
I got hooked, and that's how I kind of discovered that like, holy crap, all these rock songs are old blues songs, covers and stuff. So
As
my
long as
list
you're not pretending to like shitty sounding field recordings and tell me that you love
that's
them.
that's a that's a it's a hot button issue for Scott.
That angers me
I know. What
because
was
I
the
know you're lying.
yeah.
You're trying to show off.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I love that song.
I only like the original version of Pretty
Right.
Polly.
Right, exactly.
Get
Exactly.
out of
The
here.
one that you can't hear over the popping and cracking.
Yeah.
All right. So, blues covers, I'll be interested to hear what you have. Mine seem basic to me, but all of them are. I also did this too. I mean, these were tunes that I know and love. I didn't try to be cool. I just went, these are ones that really jumped out at me. So, what's your first one?
I Ain't Drunk from Wrathchild America.
And who do you know who it was originally by?
Albert Collins.
So, Scott, who you're a big Wrathchild America guy. I know that.
They
And
only
then
had two records. Yeah.
did you not say one of the guys in Godsmack was in Wrathchild America? Is that right? No.
The drummer from Wrathchild was Shannon Larkin.
Who was in Godsmack?
Godcrack.
Okay.
Recently, he's out now.
Yes, there because the guitar player is out I think maybe
Sam
permanently.
Bam's playing with
I
him
know,
right now.
which is so killer, man. I
Yeah.
mean, that guy and I say kid. I first of all, he's super young looking and he
He's
is
probably in his late 20s, I would
just turned
guess.
30.
Oh, okay.
Just turned 30. Yep. And has, kind of came on my radar playing with Faster Pussycat, of course. They got
Yes.
this kid. And
He's
what
going to be
had,
in Grand Rapids
I think we need to go. We talked
in
about that.
June. Well, I hope Sam Bam's with him. That'd be cool.
That would be really cool. And I think he is. I feel like those dates were on his page. Um, the lineup Faster Pussycat got my attention again was it was him, it was Sam Bam, and then I think the other guitar player was Ace Von Johnson
Yeah.
or it might have been someone else now, but anyhow, they
Ace was
had
playing with LA Guns too, right?
yes,
Yeah,
And I think it was Ace that went over to LA Guns and got Sam Bam the gig
with
with uh
Godcrack.
Pussycat and then with Godsmack. Yes.
Yeah.
So enough. Wrathchild America cover of
Yeah,
you
and
said
it's
it was
funny
Albert
at the
Collins?
for the studio chatter thing at the beginning. You hear through the talkback, "I ain't drunk, take one," or "I
Yeah.
ain't drinking, take one," and you hear the guys in the band say, "It's I ain't drunk."
Nice. Nice. And we love studio chatter. And you love Wrathchild America. And you saw
Yeah,
them like in Grand Rapids, right?
I
Is that right?
saw them at the Reptile House
Mm-hmm.
as Souls at Zero,
Right. And I remember that name too, Souls
and
at
they
Zero.
opened for Skid Row. I saw them twice.
No, cool. Did
Yeah,
were
they
they
opened for
Souls at
Skid
Zero
Row
when they
on the
opened for
Slave to the Grind tour.
Oh wow. Which some of that Slave to the Grind tour was Skid Row and Pantera.
I saw that as well.
Where'd you see that?
Kalamazoo Wing Stadium, both of them.
That Skid Row Pantera show came to Muskegon to the LC
The
Walk Arena.
the Skid Row Pantera show is where the explosive went off. The homemade explosive went off, and it made MTV News.
Mm, the one you were at?
Yes,
Someone
I
brought.
was right near the explosion. I thought it was part of Skid Row's show.
Oh my god! But someone just did like a firework type thing or
Somebody
something.
made a homemade. Yeah, it was a dude from like Wayland, Michigan. He just recently, in the last 5 or 10 years, paid off the fine because he got busted for
Holy
doing it.
smokes, man! Wow, wow.
Yeah, it was like a $20,000 fine or something to,
Well, that's these days. That shit is scary,
to
man.
some burnout metalhead.
Zach, that's a lot of.
that's a pile of cash.
You know how much weed I could have bought with that? All right. So my first pick. Let me go. This is. I gotta be. We agreed that on this podcast we weren't gonna play cool. We weren't gonna doctor stuff up so we looked cool or looked like our taste was the greatest on earth. So I have to say that I really got into this song as the title, the opening credits for Eastbound and Down, and it's Going Down by Freddie King,
Oh,
which is
okay.
a massively covered song. But I thought it was like I for years have thought it was Freddie King's song, and everyone kind of covered that. But
Yeah.
it's like there's an original artist. It's like Moloch, Moloch. I don't even know who that is, but
No.
it's the version that I know and love and think about is Freddie King's, and
Yeah.
it's the one that's the start of Eastbound and Down, and I was in a trio for a little while and we played it, and it's just the jam, and it's heavy, man. It's heavy for what it was. It was kind of like they were trying to I don't know, make Freddie King a little more contemporary, so it distorted a little more rocking.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's what I like. But yeah, Going Down by Freddie King. What do you got next?
Uh, Ram Jam, Black Betty.
You jerk.
Do you got that?
I have it. Yes, by Leadbelly.
Leadbelly. Yeah.
Yes. And I thought I was going to be the man when I threw that out, like that I knew it was a cover. I was really proud of myself. That's such a cool song.
It is.
Do you remember? I mean, when I was a kid, that was on the radio a lot.
Yeah.
Black Betty was on the radio a lot.
A
And
lot.
there's so much. My kid loves it. I
That
mean, it's
backbeat is so killer,
oh,
and
and it's dirty, man. And
that guitar, that beginning guitar, just
mhm.
grabs you and pulls like, I got to hear the rest of
Yep.
this.
What a great. I've never heard the original.
Oh, it's so like there's two of his songs that got really popular.
Who, Leadbelly's?
Yeah,
Well,
like
Yellow
this.
Leadbetter's his, right?
That might be.
It is.
That's another one then if that is his. But Where Did You Sleep Last Night?
Oh yeah.
The Nirvana does on
Yep.
Unplugged. That's a Leadbelly song as well.
Dude,
So
I feel we'll have to have either someone comment or we could look, but I feel like Yellow Leadbetter might be
it
his
might
tune.
be.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great song. Great. Okay, so this I'm trying to keep I can't believe you had Black Betty, dude. I was so thrilled about that. I thought I was the coolest guy on earth. All right. Well, I'm moving on. This one's gonna seem, dude, you're gonna think it's trite. Um, but I love it, and I loved it when I heard it, and I love his version of it, and I love him as an artist. But it's "The Sky Is Crying" by Stevie Ray Vaughan, the Elmore
Uh,
James tune. Dude, the problem with some of
I'm
these
looking to see
tunes,
if I have it. No, I don't. It's on my list, but it's not on my final list.
the problem with some of these tunes, like This Guy Is Crying or even Black Betty, um, is they're just so driven into your psyche that you kind of start like every crappy cover band will take a
Yeah.
shot at The Sky Is Crying, right? Especially if they got a guy who fancies himself a blues guitar player.
Yeah, and Black
Um,
Betty.
and Black Betty too, yeah. And I just when you hear like the first of all, the Elmore James version of The Sky Is Crying is fantastic, and you can see, but Steve Ray Vaughan's the most contemporary version of the song, and he just I don't know, man. The I fell out of love with Steve Ray Vaughan. I told you because of working at the guitar store, dude. It was dark days. We were selling a million strats. I was making a ton of commission, but you would and not that I don't mean to be that guy, but like there were a lot of people coming in those hats and looking at
Oh,
strats, and they would sit down and you'd hear a lot of pride and joy, which I love. I still I tell the story of my friend Robert Hartman, um up in the hunting camp turning me on to Steve Ray Vaughan. Before anyone, he had that cassette that's in my shop right now that was Texas
yeah.
flood on one side and couldn't stand the weather. But I forget that Steve Ray Vaughan is the man. I mean, is and was about as individual as you could be. Nobody really sounded like Steve Ray Vaughan before Steve Ray Vaughan. Now a lot of people kind of do, right? There's a lot of that flavor. There was a
Yeah,
lot of
Kenny
Kenny Wayne
Wayne's and
Shepherds, yep, and Johnny Lang
Johnny Lang's.
and what's the dude who's in my feed all the time? Joe Bonamassa.
Yep.
Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think I stepped on one of his CDs on a walk yesterday.
You know what? I have to say, for a while, like,
It's like the old AOL mailers, you know.
dude, I'm telling you, whoever does Joe Bonamassa's social media is a
Oh,
genius. Because
we got to hire him.
if you even mention guitar, if you even mention it, if you're having a conversation with a mailman out on your front porch and you go, "Yeah, I play guitar," by the time you look at your phone again,
Yeah.
Bonamassa's in your
I
feed.
was gonna say, are you recording this through your phone?
Oh yeah, I probably got
Okay.
something in my
Yeah,
inbox right
mine's
now.
right next to me, so
Yeah.
we'll both probably have Joe Bonamassa ads on our Facebook after this.
Oh shoot. What do you got next?
I have Train Kept a Rollin' by Jeff Beck.
You better hope I don't have that. I don't. You're lucky. I should. I
But yeah, my dad was massively into like where I didn't listen to him for a while because I was so sick of my dad driving Jeff Beck into my skull
I
on car rides and
I
like you
have
did with
recently.
Lucero and
Right. I've recently kind of dove into Jeff Beck, and I was never a Jeff Beck fan. I'll
it
tell you
was the
how. Go ahead.
yeah, it was the first cassette he handed me when I got my license.
Was Jeff? What was it? Blow by
Blow by
blow.
blow.
So here's how into Jeff Beck I was. I knew. I mean, of course, you hear Jeff Beck's name anytime you pick up a guitar. Like all the cool older cats were always on Jeff Beck. I'm like, I really like whoever, right? Steve Vai and oh man, Jeff Beck. Well, so I got into Jeff Beck in recent times, but where I kind of on my radar was the Rod Stewart tune when he took the solo on "People Get Ready."
Yeah.
Playing a pink Jackson guitar with Tina Turner's signature cut into it. And he played with Tina Turner on a song for sure. And he also did that really cool Rod Stewart song, Infatuation.
Yep.
Infatuation.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, Train Kept a Rolling. Have you ever seen the Yardbirds? I'm sure you have. That
Oh yeah.
video of them playing it from that movie with Paige on guitar?
It's what I don't. Is it Tiny Bradshaw?
I don't know.
Is that the original?
No idea.
I think that's an original artist of it. But
You probably got Train Kept a Rolling from Beck and the Yardbirds. I got it from Aerosmith. That's
oh,
where I
okay.
first heard it. They
Yeah,
were
I
playing it.
definitely. I probably prefer. Like 16-year-old me preferred the Aerosmith version when I heard that.
Me too.
But now that I have gone back to Jeff Beck, when like I said, I had to take a break.
Right, right.
I
Dad
mean,
beat it.
you do that with NMD. You take breaks
You
on
have to. You have to.
sometimes,
Yep. Yep. I do that a lot. Even with
which
full
is, like but it works out like the Dennis Leary way, where like rehab in the 70s was, oh, I gotta get a case of Budweiser and an ounce. I gotta slow down.
right.
It's
Exactly.
like, yeah, I gotta take a break from the Great Affairs. You're still listening to 3 or 4 Great Affairs songs a day.
Right. You're
You're
just not
just not
listening
listening
constantly.
to 4 albums a day.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly the truth. Well, that I happened to see the Zeppelin movie. That
Oh, you
new Led
did?
Zeppelin. Yeah. Dude,
In the theater? Is it out or is it streaming?
it's in the theater.
Okay.
Um, but I got an opportunity to see it, and dude, first of all, Jimmy Page, Jimmy Page, Jimmy Page, Jimmy Page, Jimmy. Dude, I love Jimmy Page. I love Jimmy Page. Um, but that Yardbird stuff, dude, when they're playing like Train Kept a Rolling, and
Yeah.
what's the other? There's a really good clip of those guys playing, but I realize now that Jeff Beck was definitely the man, and like, he was, I can hear now what all those other people were hearing in Jeff Beck's playing. What do I got? You're gonna think this is predictable. Be mad at me. I'm gonna say "Who Do You Love" by George Thorogood,
Oh yeah.
um, and Bo Diddley.
Bo
I need some
Diddley.
Bo Diddley tune. Introduce me to the Bo Diddley beat, which is on Thorogood's live album. He says we got rock and roll music with a Bo Diddley beat.
Diddley beat.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, and that's a thing now, like the Bo Diddley beat is something I understand you know, as an actual thing,
Yeah, the Animals mentioned the
it,
Bo Diddley beat.
it's kill. And Who Do You Love is just a kill. And Thorogood's cover of it is gold. I mean, it's really good. And I would say it's a signature song for George Thorogood right there with Bad to the Bone and I Drink Alone. And,
Yeah.
you know, um, and Thorogood, a lot of those blues guys, but Thorogood especially he's good at interpreting a song, a
Oh
standard,
man.
and making it sound like George Thorogood.
Yeah.
And I don't know, some people think he's kind of all the, I don't know, drinking music and all that he's sort of trite in some way, but I don't think you can beat the Destroyers. I think that's a fantastic blues rock band always.
Yeah.
And
There's
George
it
Thorogood's
gets
cool.
overlooked just like Healy's backup band gets overlooked and Richie
Right.
Kotzen's backup band gets overlooked. It just
Right. The News, Huey Lewis and the News.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Huey, those
Yeah.
guys.
All right. What do you got next?
I have You Shook Me by Jeff Pilson.
Wow. Wow. Jeff Pilson from Dokken and Foreigner?
C, correct.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah. He
What's
sings
that
lead.
like?
It's on a Shrapnel record. I can't remember what it's called though, but it's all blues covers by a bunch of shredders and there's going to be more songs from this same record on this list. But yeah, I love Jeff Pilson singing. Anyway, he sang on Craig Goldie records. He did his, War and Peace stuff. So
And he's been with Foreigner forever.
Foreigner.
Yeah, he's the secret. If you're a Dokken fan, and I
Him
am,
and Nick.
dude, it's Jeff's vocals, the harmonies and the way that
Yeah.
he was very cool. Yeah. And I recently the song Tooth and Nail by Dokken.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I liked Dokken and I liked some of the hit songs. I wasn't a huge deep cuts Dokken guy, but I had to learn Tooth and Nail, and it's pretty killer, man.
I was
It's
just rocking, what was I, Mr. Scary the other
Oh
night,
yeah,
the George Lynch.
Yeah, Jeff Pilson is he has made a career for himself outside that getting in Foreigner and
Yeah, he can
really,
do it all.
yeah, he can. He's
Bass, guitar, sing.
Dude, I saw him with someone else, like a female artist, and it'll escape me who it was, but I saw him in someone's band like pop up and I'm like, that's Jeff Pilson, and
Yeah.
I just saw Jen and my wife and I were watching something, and I was like, holy cow, it was like one of those dudes, like a Jeff in the back, right? Oh, it was Joel Hoekstra.
Oh,
And it was Joel Hoekstra playing with Cher on the I don't know what it was, 100 years of the Grammys or so. It was some or I forget what it was. It was something
did it
like
show
that.
Cher's first appearance 100 years ago?
Exactly. When she was 19. But anyhow, it was like
She's a
Jeff
vampire.
like Jeff Pilson. It was one of those dudes from our genre that ends up, running someone's band or at least being a big part of it. So
Yep.
all right, let me think here. Where do I go next? I gotta say it. I'm gonna tell you the original artist. You tell me if you think you know what it's. Big Mama Thornton is the original artist, and it's Hound
Hound
Dog
Dog.
by Elvis. Yeah, I mean, come on, dude, come on.
It's one of the first songs they played. I had a class in college called the History of Rock and Roll.
Wow,
It was
cool.
my favorite class. I could have taught it, kind of.
Right? Yeah, for sure.
Actually, the professor or the teacher, whatever you want to call him, uh, when he got to know me a little bit, he was borrowing CDs from me to use as examples.
That's high level NMD right there.
He was in a polka band.
Oh, killer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't remember what was his name. Ken Klavinsky.
Ooh, yes, yes. Well, so that was in college. My my second academic advisor at Grand Valley State University. I went in the dude's office. And I think I've told the story, but he was going through. Oh, I had to do my senior thesis, is what it was. I had to do my senior paper. He's like, "What subject?" Of course, I'm like, "It's got to be something musical." That because I was in communications, that was great for me. And so I look behind him, and there's an 8x10, old, and I can tell it's the Birds. I'm like, "That's the Birds." And I tell the dude I want to write a paper on a band. He's like, "What band?" And I'm like, "I think I want to do the Birds." And he stops and he's like, and he looks behind him. He goes, "Do you know what that is?" I go, "Yeah, that's the Birds." I'm in. Wrote my senior paper. My senior
Beautiful.
thesis was about the Birds. Yeah.
That's better than like the Kane Hackman theory or something.
Well, I'm telling you, for me, a drunk loser college kid who could barely keep his eyes open because I was hungover all the time, it was really quite a blessing. And I appreciate the guy doing that.
I would have been on like Madden football or something.
Exactly.
So that's what I was doing in college.
The history of pizza rolls. Um, all right, yeah. So Hound Dog by Big Mama Thornton, Elvis. Elvis was. I just was telling Greg last night. I watched the classic album series. I watched one on the first Elvis record.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, how cool was and for real NMD people, it had they had some studio chatter where they'd start a song and stop Elvis go, "Hold
Oh,
on,
false
man,
start it. Yeah.
let's," and they were working out parts and you could hear them talking because like that classic albums is typically like a producer and maybe the artist sitting behind the mixing board with the
Right.
original masters and they're pulling things out and soloing. Well, they couldn't do that for the Elvis record because it was all live. They were just a mono track of all the guys playing together.
Oh, okay.
There were no, they just played it. And if someone screwed up, you started it again.
Start it again.
But it's cool because you can hear them like someone will do something and they'll go, oh, Elvis will say, like, "Yeah, let's do that." Like they're kind of arranging and doing that as they go. And Miller told me, here's an NMD story. Last night he told me he was watching a thing that same deal with the Beatles recordings, right? They kind of played all together. That
Yeah.
when they did oh, now I'm gonna forget the tune. Oh shoot. There was it was And I Love Her. You know how And I Love Her from the Beatles starts with this guitar part. The recorded guitar part was the first time George ever did it. No one knew he was going to do it. They just counted up the song and George went
Oh,
down, down,
wow.
down, down. And it was a historic classic guitar part. So, yeah.
Dang.
What do you got next?
From that same record as You Shook Me, The Hunter by Fred Curry on lead vocals.
What?
Fred Cupcakes Curry on lead vocals, sir.
How is it? Cool.
It's fantastic, dude. It's so good.
So, for those who don't have 1980s hair metal NMD. Fred Curry is the drummer, was the drummer in the rock band Cinderella.
Yes.
He's now in the music business.
He
I
was
don't
in
know.
Arcade as well, I believe.
Yeah, with Stephen Pearcy.
Yep.
He also, of note, drummed for Guns N' Roses when Steven Adler broke his hand.
He did. Yep.
Um, he a great drummer. I've never heard him sing. So what's it? He's
Dude, The
got a.
Hunter. It's who did that? Albert King? I think it's
I
Albert
know it.
King.
There's like a Is there a humble pie version of it or bad company version of it?
Somebody else does well, Danzig does it
Nice.
on that first record with Mother and everything.
Really? No
Yeah.
kidding. Wow.
But the Fred Curry, dude, that version is it's I mean, the Albert King one is it's probably on the same record as like Crosscut Saw, which is a killer
Yep.
Albert King song, and but yeah,
That's
check it
cool.
out.
I will. I will. I got some driving to do today,
It's
so
a
maybe.
Shrapnel record, and I can't remember what it's called because
Do you
Richie
know
has
who
one also on there called Bipolar Blues.
who
But
plays on Fred's? Like, do you know the lineup of who's
all
doing
the
what?
guys are hair metal guys, and
Yeah,
sometimes it's like Steve Lukather is on there,
right.
and George Lynch plays a lot on there.
Killer.
But you'll recognize all the names.
Excellent. I'm in.
It's kick. It's like a all-star record of doing old blues song. Dirt. I call like that style of like the hair metal guys doing it, or Bonamassa, or any
Right.
of these. I call it like dirty blues.
Yes. Yeah. Right. Yeah. For sure. And sometimes it works, and I have to say sometimes it doesn't. Every
Right.
once in a while, one of those like G3 guitar tours with
It'll
all the big names.
fall on its face.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, dude! They'd cover Red House by which is I know it through Hendrix. It's another one of those standards, but
Yeah.
and it would just be shitty because they
There's
would
too
just
much wankery in those
oh
things
my
anyway.
way too. And I just saw, and I mean, it is no secret to anyone. I love Zach Wild. I love him, but I just saw a clip of him playing something like whipping post or something like that, and even that was like, oh come on. Dude. I mean, I love him, but he just
Yeah.
burned over it. He just I mean, he was Zach Wild. I appreciate that about him, right? He didn't pretend to be something else. He played it like Zach Wild. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, wankery.
You wanted him to be more.
I want him to lay back a little bit.
Yeah.
Is all I guess. Let's see. Where am I next? This tune is this is a blues song. It is definitely a blues song. But it also could be some country too, because it's so old. But it's Jimmy Rogers' Mule Skinner Blues, and it's Dolly Parton's version,
Oh, wow.
which is a
That's got to be
dude. It's early
early
in
in her career,
it
right?
is, it is, it is,
Did
and
she
it
start like late 60s putting out records?
earlier than that,
Earlier than that?
yeah, because it would have been earlier. I think early mid '60s would have had her with Porter Wagner, maybe, or it could have been in the. No, she was with Porter Wagner pretty early. So, yeah, Mule Skinner Blues is a great song, and I love Jimmy Rogers, America's Singing Brakeman.
Yeah.
Um, as a matter of fact, I used to cover "The TB is Whipping Me," which is a Jimmy Rogers tune, that Wilco covered, and I don't know, I love that early. Jimmy Rogers was kind of an influence on Dylan and all of that early stuff, and so Dolly Parton's music is really good. It's really really good. So, what do you got next?
I have from the same record, that bluesy shrapnel record, Messing with the Kid by Glenn Hughes on lead vocals.
Glenn Hughes is the man. He's like Michael Monroe. You know how I was talking about Michael Monroe earlier? Just
Yeah, with Black Country and everything.
dude. I mean, Glenn Hughes still has it, and has it in spades. He's a great bass player. He's a great singer. I mean, he sang in Purple. He's
Yep.
done. He was in the Dead Daisies for a while.
Yeah.
He's cool. He's a cool guy. He's a cool ass guy. Got himself sober and straightened out, and just goes
His
for it.
vocals are top notch on that song.
They always are
That's
on
like
everything he does.
Junior Wells tune, I think, maybe.
Okay.
Messing with the Kid. He's also got a whole album of like blues covers, maybe some of his own originals. That's out on Shrapnel too. It's just Glenn Hughes.
I don't think it can be overstated how impactful. It's the weirdest thing. How impactful the blues, American blues music, was to English musicians.
English, yeah.
I mean, good God, they literally took stuff that we had, they reformed it and packaged it and sold it right back to America.
Yeah.
They sold all those Stone songs, all those. I mean, they literally resold it to us, which is crazy. But they, the Stones were coming over and doing these blues covers, like,
Yeah.
I just want to make love to you, all that kind of stuff, and it just amazing. And it's funny, the American artists are so influenced by the English artists who were so influenced, right? It's really a
And it all goes back to the blues.
right, right, agreed. Let's see. What do I have next? I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. I'll take whatever judgment comes because it seems so predictable, but it's a classic. It's one of the first old timey blues songs that I'll call it first wave blues artist that I got hip to through a cover, and it changed the game for me. And it was Crossroads by Cream, the Robert
Okay, yep.
Johnson song. And so I told you I got bluesy for a little while, and part of it was because of Crossroads. It was the song Crossroads. And then I got a Robert Johnson box set, and I'm like, oh my God, there's all these songs. It was, Hellhound on My Trail, all these
Yep.
Robert Johnson songs. But that Cream cover is a classic.
There's a lot, and I
It's a
hate
classic.
most of them.
A lot of covers of Crossroads.
Too many, and I hate most of them.
Well, the Cream one is untouchable. It's
Yeah,
killer. It's killer.
fantastic.
It's
John Mayer
fantastic.
does it. I hate it.
It it's
Um,
a good one to whip out. It's a good jam tune. It's not horribly complex. A lot of people know it. There's a lot of room for jacking, right? Noodling around. So it's
yeah.
a good one if you got a bunch of, hey, you want to come up and do something? We'll do Crossroads. That's a good one. Um, but the original, the Robert Johnson is so good. And then Cream is just, I mean, Cream in that one song, I think, really opened up a lot of people to the blues, to original artist blues like that. So
Yeah.
what do you
Yeah.
got next?
Baby Please Don't Go by Zach Wild from that same record. That that blues record from Shrapnel. It's awesome.
What are my favorite? Now there's a that's been covered a lot.
Yeah, I think that's like I don't even know.
Who knows? I mean, the ACDC version's killer. Maybe Please Don't Go by ACDC is
What is
great.
it credited to? Like McKinley Morganfield or something?
Oh,
Or
really? Something wacky like that. Yeah, what's the first version you ever heard?
I
If
don't
you're
know.
guessing. I think mine was Them, Van Morrison and Them.
Oh, that Van Morrison band. Yeah.
And then my favorite version, oh, you get ready to judge. You're gonna be super judgy on me. My favorite version, Ted Nugent.
Oh,
Ted
okay.
Nugent's cover of it. It's killer, dude. It's killer.
Yeah, Zach does a cool job. I think it's Pride and Glory, to be honest,
Ooh. Ooh.
doing
Does
it.
he I'm sure he rips on it, right?
Oh yeah, he rips. It's cool.
Yeah, it's time to rip.
I think it might be the Pride and Glory band though.
Which yeah, would be what Lamenzo and Brian Tishy maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, forget
Maybe
it.
that was a Big Joe Williams song.
It was. You just nailed it. That's exactly who it was.
Okay.
I think there's a version of Baby Please Don't Go. Don't quote me, but I feel like there might be a version from Webb Wilder
Oh, yeah, I remember that
where
band.
he talks to like, hey, I said, hey, Big Joe. And, that's cool. Yep. That's a classic. And I love the Nugent version. And I, I don't align with a lot of Ted Nugent's views. I think that you wouldn't have to know me that long to suss that out.
Mm,
But I just the other day was driving and kicked on the first Nugent album, and I still, if I get everything out of the way and I just listen to the music and I listen to the guitar playing, I listen to Derek St. Holmes, it was pretty kick ass, dude. It was
Yeah.
pretty kick ass back in the day. All right, where am I at now? This one is such a classic that I use it to define a style that I want the drums to sound like. If I go, hey, dude, I want the drums to sound like this song, and it was originally done by, and I did not know this. I knew it was a cover, didn't know by who. Kansas Joe McCoy and Memphis Minnie, and the song is called "When the Levee
Levee
Breaks"
breaks.
by Led Zeppelin.
Our
And
buddy Adam had that on Facebook. Yeah.
yes, and the first like that
I didn't know that was
original,
a cover either.
dude, that original version is a walking blues, and I did know it was a cover. Um, so it's, and walking blues is like a genre within the blues. You'd hear a lot of like, folky. I don't know what to even call it, but the Zeppelin, and I wonder like how they got to the Zeppelin version, and they went, all right, John Bonham will start it. We'll start it with drums, and it's when the
Those
levee breaks.
big, yeah.
I mean, it's still it's
Bracken.
it's sampled. I mean, the Beastie Boys sample that
Yep.
groove. It's it's
Rhyming and
definitive.
stealing, right?
It's
Yeah.
yes, yes, and it's definitive of what to me when the levee breaks is a real great example of Bonham's drum sound, of what his foot was like, of what his how he approached the drums. It's so back on the beat, and then the harmonica. It's just killer. It's killer. It's
Yeah.
Zeppelin. Like I said, that movie is just rekindled my love for Led Zeppelin. How cool they were. That Jimmy Page was. I mean, still to this day, you don't know, like, there's not a lot of footage of Jimmy Page washing his car or getting groceries, or do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he gets to be, this dark prince that nobody knows anything about. And he's Jimmy Page, and he loves music, like Ricky Dover Jr. was talking about. Page, Jimmy Page is still like a kid, dude. He loves music.
If you want to
And
hear some cool Jimmy Page stories, go listen to the Ricky Dover Jr.
oh
episode.
my God, dude, that still was such a good time. And he, Ricky manages to talk about sharing space with Jimmy Page, and at no point does he sound like an asshole or sound like he's bragging. At
He
no point.
sounded like you and me, just giddy.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sure, I mean, I would have struggled. I don't know. What do you say to Jimmy Page, right? I mean, what do you say without sounding like a complete moron or crying?
You know what you say? You say a John Merchant. Hey, nice job up there.
Yeah. Hey, Ray Gillen, nice job up there, buddy. You're Ray Gillen, and I'm 17 years old, and someday I'll be 53 and still unable to sing in key. Yeah, great job up there. All right, so I'm so lost. What was that?
I
That
had
was your
one,
pick.
but I
That was
wasn't
Baby Please
sure.
Don't Go. Yeah,
What's that? Did I
yeah,
just
you had
use?
Baby Please Don't Go.
Okay.
We got off on a tangent, which is typical.
Yeah, that happens.
Where am I going to go next? Well, I only have two left, so I'm going to pull this out. Another Robert Johnson tune, and another Zeppelin tune. There you go. But I really liked when Zeppelin came out with that big box set. I was working at BIM, and the single off it was Traveling Riverside Blues. There was
Yes.
actually a video for it, which was not Zeppelin. It was just a video, but um, it's really good, and again, it's a Robert Johnson tune. I would consider Robert Johnson to be, I don't know how much earlier than that you get. How much earlier than Robert Johnson do you get in the blues, really? You don't hear a
I'm,
lot of people talk about, I mean, it was probably the blues were so regional at that time, right? To the South. Before
yeah.
Robert Johnson, my guess is the blues were just things that were being sung in the fields, maybe while they were picking cotton, would be my guess, you know?
Yeah. And
And
then at night on the porches or
right,
wherever in the taverns and
right. In the roadhouses,
roadhouses,
juke joint.
whatever.
That's what I'm looking for.
Juke
The juke
joints,
joints.
yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, obviously Robert Johnson was such fertile ground for these young rock and roll artists from Cream to Zeppelin to, and again, the English guys who are discovering music from the South and getting it back to us. I
Yeah.
mean, I've told that story before, and I know it's been told a million times, but it's what made the Stones. What created the Stones was Keith seeing Mick with an armful of records, and one
Yep.
of the records was a Chuck Berry record, I think. So,
On the train. Yep.
on the train, and so from not even, from the cosmos, from a connection, just like an NMD connection, we got the Rolling Stones. So there you go. What do you got next?
And then we got the NMD podcast,
Yes, exactly.
like 50 years later.
Exactly. Which is really the most important thing that happened
I
in
didn't
all
know
of
if you
that.
were going to give me this song because I don't think anyone knows who wrote it,
Okay.
but the greatest version ever of it, in my opinion, is the Animals doing House of the Rising Sun.
It's amazing. And yes, the Animals is the definitive version, and the vocal is killer, and it's a great song to learn on guitar when you're getting started because there's a ton of chords in it. There's an F in there, and that's a tricky
God.
chord to get. Um, it's it's House of the Rising Sun is, you could almost dig up any guitar instruction book, and one of the early songs is that.
Yeah.
And it covers so much of
So
what
good.
you need. And the vocal too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a song that is covered a lot, and it's like I said, it's manageable on guitar. So it's an early song that people learn,
Yep.
and you can play and sing along. But the Animals version is nasty, man.
Man.
That's killer and bluesy and you believable. That's what the Animals version is. It's believable.
Yeah.
It's just,
Correct.
yeah.
You
Oh,
have
what a
one
great
left?
song. I have one left.
I have two left.
Cool. Let me get my one. Well, no, do your. Let
This
you
is
double
from
up.
that same blues shrapnel record.
I want to say something. I'm going to stop right now and say that you, sir, have nailed what? How many of your songs are off that shrap? You've got what? 5 of them?
One, two, three, four, five. Yes.
Don't you ever criticize me for using Honking Tonk Heroes more than once? I was just listening to that shit last
Hey, at
night
least
again.
they're different artists.
I know. I don't care because Billy Joe Shaver. If you're gonna talk about country music, I'm gonna be talking about Billy Joe Shaver. That's just what's gonna happen. And
Well,
last night, Miller.
we should
Here's
have a yeah.
what? What? Say something.
See, you're a Billy Joe Shaver guy, and he's great. I'm a Bobby Bear guy.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay to be that way. And those. So I
Neither
spent
one of them are talked about ever, though.
no. I spent yesterday. My wife was sick. I had a gig. I had songs to work on. I had things to do. But I got in this Tales from the Tour Bus. Have you ever seen that
Oh yeah, yeah.
with Mike Judge? It's killer.
So good.
Well, there's probably 15 episodes about Billy Joe Shaver. People
Oh
telling stuff,
yeah.
blah, 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 blah. And of course, I watched some Otis Gibb. But so I was watching Billy Joe and then listening to Waylon. And this is Greg Miller. This is how sweet of a dude he is as he criticizes. He goes, "Hey man, I really heard those documentaries in your singing tonight." And I'm like, "Yeah, I was laying it on pretty thick." He's like, "Yeah." I said, "I'm sorry, dude. I watched it all day and I could." We were playing so much country shit last night, and I mean,
I know.
we've never, ever played Georgia on a Fast Train ever once. And I'm like, last night, I'm like, we're playing Georgia on a Fast Train,
It
and
was great.
Miller says, I could really hear those documentaries, which means, yeah, dude, let's settle down, fucking deep South guy from Michigan. But yeah, so we so sidetracked. Anyhow, back to your pick. I'm sorry. From your album you've
You
milked
don't
for
love
5
me.
picks.
Richie Kotzen and Steve Lukather on guitar with Richie,
Hmm.
but Richie doing vocals.
Well, Kotzen is
That's a who does that song? Willie Cobb.
hmm.
You don't love me. I think. But Richie's really got his rasp in there, and it's
Richie Kotzen could be a just quit playing guitar and sing and be just fine.
yeah.
But yet he's an amazing monster guitar player too, which is crazy.
It would look like as weird as Donnie V without a guitar. It just
Dude, I hate when those guys do it. I hate when I
I
hate
couldn't I couldn't see Richie up there just singing. That would be weird.
who was
It's
talking
like
about
seeing
that.
you not with a guitar or something.
Well, and that's it. It depends. Like in the hairband thing, I don't play guitar much at all. I play
I
acoustic on a
know it's
couple things.
strange.
And it feels good to me because I like doing it and it's fun. But I
Well, at
also
least you got your, your 80s mic moves and
I do
whatnot.
well. Fuck, I practiced them every
So,
day for my entire life. But the other thing is when it's a song where the lead singer plays guitar, I wish I were playing guitar because all I'm doing in that hairband truly is pretending on those people.
yeah.
Like I don't pretend at an acoustic gig maybe that I'm that, but when we're doing the hairband thing, I'm full on fantasy mode. I want to pretend I'm all those people.
Yeah.
But if we do like Kiss or we do Somebody Save Me by Cinderella, and I wish I were playing guitar because Tom Kiefer played guitar on it.
Do you go all Marky Mark at practice and get whiny when people play solos wrong and stuff like he did in
No,
Rockstar?
no, oh yeah, exactly. Like you're not, yeah.
This is
So and
my
so would
microphone stand and I'm taking it.
exactly. That's exactly what I'm like. I'm glad you know that now.
That's such an awesomely bad movie.
Hey, I think that's standard watching, and I still get chills watching it. That's how pathetic I am. I still get
It's
chills.
it's good. I mean, it's awesomely bad, like a Van Damme movie or something. It's just
Well, and the premise is, first of all, it's real. That happened, right, to Ripper Owens.
yeah.
Um, but I don't know, man. It's because it's every kid's fantasy. My fantasy as a kid, I had a couple of them. One of them is always the guy. One dude got it. The guy who got up with the Who. Does someone play drums? And the dude got up, played like 3 songs with the Who or something.
Yeah.
That's been a fantasy from day one. First concert I ever went to, Cheap Trick. I'm like, someone's gonna get sick, and I'm in. And I
Yeah.
was, fucking 11 or 12.
Yeah.
Um, that's a fantasy. And then the other fantasy is always that, like, man, you sing such and such so good that we need somebody to tour with Rat or something, and you're gonna be that guy. So yeah, that's always the fantasy. All right.
Mhm.
So I'm going to my last pick. Sorry, man, I got distracted. My son is wandering around here. Speaking of rock and roll dudes, there's one right there. Long
We
hair.
should start the yeah. Quinn and Scott pod, the JAC,
Oh
Jazz and
yeah.
Conversation
Oh, did you?
podcast with
He
Quinn and
can't hear you,
Scott.
but I'm going to tell him right now that Scott just said that you guys should start a podcast called the J. What is it? The
The
J.
JAC,
The
Jazz and
JAC,
Conversation.
Jazz and Conversation Podcast. Oh, he looks like he's in. He's jazzing right now. He looks all jazzed up. All right. So my final pick is it's a Mississippi Fred McDowell tune, which you hear his name all the time when blues stuff comes up. And it's Shake 'em On Down, and it's the version from the North Mississippi All Stars.
Oh yeah.
That Shake 'em On Down album by the North Mississippi All Stars hit me so hard, dude, that I had to be like a Lucero, like a solid year on it. Just constantly listen to that record. Poe Black Maddie's on there. I mean, I love North. And please, I don't want to pretend again like I was hip to the North. I got hip when Luther joined the Crows. Black Crows had a new
Okay.
guitar player, and I'm like,
You
who
got
is
me
it?
into him a few years ago, so
And it was Luther Dickinson, and I'm like, what? And I knew Jim Dickinson because I knew that name from he had produced like the Replacements. He was involved with the Mats, and
okay.
he had produced a bunch of great records down there. Kind of a legend. Was very close to Alex Chilton, from Big Star. So, but Shake 'em On Down is dirty. There's blues, right? There's Chicago blues and Texas blues, and we've talked about that.
Yeah.
Um, that's Mississippi blues. That's
Yeah.
Delta blues, and that's probably, I would guess, if I had to pick, that's my favorite genre of blues
The
is
Delta
is
style.
Delta style. Yep. Yep. More so than Chicago, because Chicago blues is more sophisticated, more electric.
Yeah.
Um, and it migrated. It migrated there from the blues kind of got up there from the South, of course. So yeah, that was my last pick. You got one more for us?
Yeah, the well, two songs by the Doors, "Close to You," which Ray Manzarek sings lead vocals on. That's the Willie Dixon song.
Okay.
And then Jim does "Backdoor Man." It's
Yeah.
Howlin'
That
Wolf, right?
yes, it is. I believe you're
Yeah.
right. And that's a standard. That's a Doors standard.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
Doors standard. And they were again,
I think "Close to You" is on, well, it was on the CD with the black background. It was like a double live CD.
okay.
I
Hmm.
think "Close to You" is on that with Ray singing lead.
Well, the Doors were too. That's the other thing, that another subgenre of the blues that we don't always talk about is like psychedelic blues in the
Yeah.
60s, right? Where those guys were taking blues songs and really tripping, and those progressions lay out so nicely that you can, and I don't want to say noodle because those guys didn't, but you can noodle over them and they're going to be consistent. A lot of times it's three chords, just
Yeah.
chucking, and gives a lot of room for that. So yeah, I knew you'd have some Doors ones. That's good. I would have been disappointed. All right. So again, those are just the first 10 that came to mind. You could go on and on. I mean, I
Yeah, I
didn't
think
even get to like Black Crows,
Bruce had like "Walking the Dog," I think, on our Facebook,
Rufus,
and
which is, I mean, again, the Aerosmith version was when I got that first Aerosmith album. That was my favorite song on it. Mama Kin.
it's my favorite
Yep. Yep.
version, my
And the
favorite
rat
cover.
rat covers killer too. The
Yep.
rat
Mine
cover.
is Aerosmith though, my favorite.
Mine
It's
too. Mine
so
too.
good.
Yep. Mine too.
Richie does "The Thrill Is Gone" really well on his bipolar blues record, the
BB King tune, right?
BB King song, yeah.
And I love BB King too. I do.
But yeah, you dig that shrapnel. It's probably on Spotify.
I'll check it out. Like I said, I have a lot of drive time today, so
It's Shrapnel. I can't remember what it's called, but you'll find it.
cool, man. Cool.
Fred Curry doing the Hunter, dude.
That's the
It's
one I want to hear. I want to hear him sing.
man.
All right. Well, you got any parting words for us today, buddy?
You sing the blues to lose the blues. John Lee Hooker.
All right. See you next time, everybody.
All right, later.